In the darkness of the Arabian night, where the stars shine with ancient brilliance above an endless sea of sand, there lies a city that defies not just the desert, but time itself. A city that rose from the sands like a mirage made permanent through sheer human will. This is the story of Dubai. The cool night air settles over the dunes that surround the sprawling metropolis. From above, the city appears as a constellation fallen to earth, a network of lights stretching along the coastline of the Persian Gulf, reaching inland with illuminated arteries that pulse with life against the darkness of the desert. The moonlight catches on the tallest of these structures a needle piercing the heavens, a monument to ambition that stands as both question and exclamation point against the night sky. Listen as we travel back through the layers of time, before the spires of glass and steel, before the artificial islands shaped like palm fronds, before the indoor ski slopes and the air-conditioned malls. Listen to the whisper of the desert wind as it carries stories across the sand stories of pearl divers and fishermen, of Bedouin travelers and desert traders, of sheiks with visions that seemed impossible, of laborers from distant lands, and of a transformation unparalleled in human history. The journey begins here in the cool embrace of night, where the relentless desert heat has retreated, leaving only the sound of the gentle waves of the Persian Gulf lapping against the shores of a land forever changed by human ingenuity and ambition. Long before the name Dubai evoked images of luxury and extravagance, this land was defined by its harshness. The desert is an unforgiving place where the sun bears down with such intensity that it seems to press the very life from the earth. During the day, temperatures regularly climb beyond 40 degrees Celsius, the heat rising in visible waves from the sand, distorting the horizon into a shimmering, shifting boundary between earth and sky. This was the reality of Dubai for thousands of years. Small settlement nestled along a narrow creek called Khor Dubai, a saltwater inlet that provided the only respite from the surrounding desert. The creek cut into the coastline, creating a natural harbor that would become the lifeblood of the community that grew around it. Here, along these shores, members of the Bani Yaz tribe established a presence, drawn by the relatively protected waters and the potential for trade and sustenance from the sea. The settlement was a modest collection of simple structures built from coral, stone, palm fronds, and mud. The barasti huts, as they were called, were designed to provide shelter from the relentless sun while allowing the occasional breeze to pass through. These dwellings, with their palm thatch roofs and walls, spoke of the ingenuity of people adapting to their environment with the limited resources available to them. Life in this early Dubai revolved around the rhythms of the sea and the seasons. The men would venture out in wooden dhow sailing vessels with distinctive triangular sails that have plied the waters of the Arabian Gulf for centuries. These dhows carried the pearl divers to the oyster beds that lay beneath the surface of the turquoise waters. Pearl diving was not merely an occupation. It was a way of life, a tradition passed down through generations, a dangerous dance with the sea that required both skill and courage. The divers would take a deep breath, pinch their noses with a clip made of bone or tortoiseshell, and plunge into the depths, weighted down by stones tied to their bodies to help them descend more quickly to the oyster beds below. With nothing but their hands and a small knife, they would pry oysters from the seabed, collecting them in a basket attached to a rope. Each dive could last up to 2 minutes, and a diver might make as many as 50 dives a day during the pearling season, which ran from May through September, the hottest months of the year, when the waters were warmest. The work was grueling and dangerous. Many divers suffered from ruptured eardrums, and some never returned to the surface. Yet the allure of finding a perfect pearl one that could provide for a family for months or even years, drove them back to the sea day after day, season after season. The pearls harvested from these waters were highly prized in markets from India to Europe. They represented Dubai's first connection to the wider world of global trader. Harbinger of the international hub it would one day become. The trade in pearls brought wealth to some, particularly the merchants who organized the diving expeditions and traded the pearls in distant markets. But for most residents of Dubai, life remained a constant struggle against the elements. When the divers were not at sea, they turned their attention to the land. Agriculture was limited by the harsh desert conditions, but date palms thrived in small patches of arable land, providing a vital source of nutrition. The dates were not only consumed locally, but also traded with neighboring settlements and passing caravans. Fishing, too, provided sustenance for the growing community. The waters of the Persian Gulf were rich with marine life. Hamor grouper, sherry, emperor, and many other species filled the fishermen's nets. The catch would be dried and salted to preserve it in the intense heat, a practice that continues in some form to this day. The rhythm of life followed the sun rising before dawn to take advantage of the cooler morning hours, seeking shelter during the scorching midday heat, and emerging again as the sun began its descent toward the western horizon. This daily cycle was punctuated by the calls to prayer that echoed across the settlement 5 times a day, a reminder of the faith that provided structure and meaning to the community. Trade was the other pillar of early Dubai's economy. The creek provided a natural harbor for trading vessels that traveled between the ports of the Gulf, India, and East Africa. Dubai became a minor but significant point in a network of maritime trade routes that crisscrossed the region. The souk, or markets, that sprang up along the creek sold everything from spices and textiles to gold and, of course, pearls. The settlement's strategic location positioned between east and westward later proved to be one of its greatest assets. But in these early days, it was simply a place where merchants could find safe harbor and exchange goods before continuing their journeys. Governance of this small but growing community fell to the Al Maktoum family, a branch of the Bani Yas tribe that had settled in the area in the early 19th century. In 1833, approximately 800 members of the tribe, led by Maktoum bin Beauty, established themselves in Dubai, laying the foundation for the ruling dynasty that continues to this day. The Al Maktoums ruled with a combination of authority and pragmatism. They understood that the settlement's survival depended on trade, and they worked to establish Dubai as a commercial center by implementing policies that attracted merchants and traders. They kept taxes low and regulations minimal, creating an environment where commerce could flourish. This early embrace of free trade would become a defining characteristic of Dubai, setting it apart from other settlements in the region and establishing a template for the economic policies that would drive its extraordinary development in the centuries to come. As the night deepens and the distant lights of the modern city twinkle like earthbound stars, we pause to consider the stark contrast between the Dubai of yesterday and the Dubai of today. The simple coral stone structures and barasti huts have given way to architectural marvels of glass and steel. The pearl divers' dhows have been replaced by luxury yachts and container ships. The small trading post has transformed into a global metropolis. Yet beneath the glittering surface of the contemporary city, the echoes of its humble origins remain. The creek, now dredged and widened, still flows through the heart of Dubai. The descendants of those early pearl divers and traders still call this place home, and the spirit of adaptation and ambition that allowed a small desert settlement to survive and thrive continues to drive the city forward into an uncertain future. The wind carries the scent of salt and sand, a sensory reminder of the elements that have shaped this land and its people for generations. As we continue our journey through time, we will witness how these same elements, the sea, the sand, the sun, would both challenge and inspire the visionaries who would transform Dubai from a modest trading post into one of the most recognizable cities on earth. But that transformation lay far in the future. For now, in the quiet of the desert night, Dubai sleeps as it has for centuries, cradled between the endless sands and the eternal sea, unaware of the extraordinary destiny that awaits. The passing of time in early Dubai was marked not by the ticking of clocks, but by the changing of seasons, the phases of the moon, and the arrival and departure of trading vessels. Life moved at the pace of the natural world, unhurried, yet ever in motion, like the sand that shifted with the desert winds. The harsh environment fostered a strong sense of community and interdependence. Families lived in close proximity, often sharing courtyards where women gathered to prepare meals, mend clothes, and care for children while the men were at sea or in the markets. The sound of laughter and conversation, of mortar and pestle grinding spices, of children playing in the narrow alleyways between dwellings, these were the soundtracks of daily life. Water, the most precious resource in the desert, was drawn from wells dug deep into the ground. The groundwater was often brackish, with a high salt content, but it was essential for survival. Every drop was used with care for drinking, cooking, washing, and nurturing the few plants that could be coaxed to grow in this arid environment. The heat was an ever-present reality, a force to be respected and accommodated. The architecture of early Dubai reflected this reality. Buildings were constructed close together, creating narrow streets that provided shade during the hottest parts of the day. Wind towers, or bargeels, were ingenious features of wealthier home stall structures with openings at the top designed to catch the breeze and channel it down into the building, creating a natural form of air conditioning. Religion provided both spiritual guidance and social structure. The Islamic faith, with its emphasis on community, charity, and submission to the will of Allah, offered a framework for understanding and accepting the challenges of desert life. The mosque was not only a place of worship, but a center of community life, where disputes were resolved, news was shared, and the bonds of society were strengthened. The call of the muezzin, summoning the faithful to prayer 5 times a day, marked the passage of time more reliably than any clock. Each call represented a pause in the day's activities, a moment to turn from worldly concerns to spiritual matters. A rhythm that gave structure to life in a place where the harsh environment might otherwise have made existence feel chaotic and uncertain. Education was primarily religious in nature, focused on memorization of the Quran and the teachings of Islam. Boys learned from religious scholars in small schools called kutabs, where they sat on the floor and recited verses until they had committed them to memory. Girls typically received education at home, learning domestic skills from their mothers and other female relatives, along with basic religious instruction. For most residents of Dubai, the horizon of their lives was limited to the immediate region. Travel beyond the Arabian Peninsula was rare, undertaken only by merchants and sailors who ventured to India, East Africa, or other ports in the Gulf. The wider world was known primarily through the goods that arrived on trading vessels and the stories told by those who had journeyed to distant lands. Yet even in this isolated corner of the world, changes were beginning to stir. The 19th century brought increased European interest in the region, particularly from the British, who sought to secure their trade routes to India and to suppress piracy in the waters of the Gulf. In 1820, the British signed a general treaty of peace with the sheikhs of the region, including the rulers of Dubai, establishing what came to be known as the Trucial States, a collection of sheikdoms under British protection. This arrangement would last until 1971, providing a period of relative stability during which Dubai could develop without the constant threat of external conflict. The treaty did not directly interfere with the internal governance of Dubai, but it did bring the settlement into closer contact with the wider world and the currents of global politics and economics that would eventually transform it. As the 19th century gave way to the 20th, Dubai continued to grow slowly but steadily. The population increased, the area of settlement expanded, and the volume of trade passing through the creek rose. Yet the fundamental character of life remained largely unchanged. A delicate balance between the demands of survival in a harsh environment and the opportunities presented by Dubai's strategic location as a trading hub. This balance would soon be disrupted by a series of events that would set Dubai on a new trajectory. The first of these was the collapse of the natural pearl market in the 1930s, as Japanese cultured pearls flooded global markets, offering a more affordable alternative to the natural pearls harvested from the Gulf. This economic catastrophe devastated Dubai's pearl diving industry, which had been a mainstay of the local economy for generations. Families that had relied on pearl diving for their livelihoods suddenly found themselves without a source of income. Many were forced to leave Dubai in search of opportunities elsewhere. The population declined, and the settlement entered a period of economic hardship that tested the resilience of both its people and its leaders. Yet even in this moment of crisis, the seeds of future transformation were being sown. The collapse of the pearl industry created a vacuum that would eventually be filled by new economic activities. It forced the rulers of Dubai to look beyond traditional sources of wealth and to consider new possibilities for development. Moreover, it coincided with the beginning of oil exploration in the region. Although oil would not be discovered in Dubai itself until the 1960s, the prospect of this new source of wealth was already beginning to reshape the political and economic landscape of the Arabian Peninsula. The night deepens, and the stars wheel overhead, marking the passage of hours as we have traveled through centuries. The modern city sleeps, its towering structures silhouetted against the night sky, while the ghosts of pearl divers and traders move unseen through the streets, witnesses to a transformation that would have seemed impossible in their time. The sound of the waves against the shore remains constant, a link between past and present, a reminder that despite all the changes wrought by human hands, the fundamental elements of this place, the sand, the relentless sun, remain unchanged, eternal witnesses to the unfolding story of Dubai. As we move forward in our journey through time, we approach a pivotal moment in Dubai's history, a moment when vision would triumph over circumstance, when ambition would defy the limitations of environment, when a small desert settlement would begin its improbable transformation into a global city. But that is a story for the next phase of our exploration. As the night gives way to dawn and a new chapter in Dubai's extraordinary journey begins, the dawn breaks over the desert, painting the sand in hues of gold and amber. The first rays of sunlight catch on the glass facades of the modern city, creating a dazzling display of light and color. But we are not yet ready to explore the Dubai of skyscrapers and artificial islands. Our journey through time takes us first to the middle of the 20th century, to a critical juncture in the city's history. The period following World War II was one of significant change throughout the Middle East and beyond. The old colonial powers were in retreat, new nations were emerging, and the global economy was undergoing a profound transformation. In Dubai, These changes were felt as ripples at first, distant echoes of events taking place in the wider world. The settlement had survived the collapse of the pearl industry, but it remained a modest placer, small port town with a population of perhaps 20,000 people. The creek continued to be the center of economic activity, with dhows and larger vessels bringing goods from India, Iran, and East Africa. The souk along the waterfront bustled with activity, as merchants and customers haggled over prices for everything from spices and textiles to gold and electronics. Life in Dubai at this time retained many of the characteristics of earlier periods. Most buildings were still simple structures of coral, stone, mud, and palm fronds. Water was scarce and precious. The heat of summer was still a force to be endured rather than overcome. Religion, family, and trade remained the pillars of society. Yet, beneath the seemingly unchanging surface, currents of transformation were beginning to stir. In 1958, Sheikh Rashid bin Saeed Al Maktoum became the ruler of Dubai, succeeding his father, Sheikh Said bin Maktoum Al Maktoum. This succession would prove to be a turning point in Dubai's history. For Sheikh Rashid brought with him a vision of development and modernization that would set the emirate on a new path. Sheikh Rashid is often credited as the architect of modern Dubai, the visionary who saw potential where others saw only limitations. His famous quote, "My grandfather rode a camel, my father rode a camel, I drive a Mercedes, my son drives a Land Rover, his son will drive a Land Rover, but his son will ride a camel," encapsulates both his ambition for rapid development and his concern for the sustainability of that development. The new ruler understood that Dubai's traditional economic activities were no longer sufficient to support a growing population or to provide the kind of future he envisioned for his people. He recognized that the Emirate's location positioned between east and west, with a natural harbor in the form of the creek, was its greatest asset, and he set about leveraging that asset to transform Dubai into a modern trading hub. One of Sheikh Rashid's first major projects was the dredging of the creek. By the 1950s, the waterway had begun to silt up, making it difficult for larger vessels to navigate. Rather than accepting this limitation, Sheikh Rashid initiated a bold plan to dredge the creek, deepening and widening it to accommodate larger ships. The project was a significant financial gamble for a settlement with limited resources. Indeed, the cost was so great that Sheikh Rashid had to take out a loan to finance it, a decision that was met with skepticism by many. Yet he persisted, convinced that the investment would pay dividends in the form of increased trade. The dredging of the creek, completed in 1963, was a success beyond even Sheikh Rashid's expectations. The improved waterway allowed larger vessels to enter, significantly increasing the volume of trade passing through Dubai. The port facilities were expanded, and the souk along the waterfront grew to accommodate the growing flow of goods. This early infrastructure project established a pattern that would be repeated throughout Dubai's development. Visionary leadership, ambitious infrastructure investments, and a focus on creating an environment conducive to trade and commerce. Sheikh Rashid's vision extended beyond the creek. He understood that Dubai needed to modernize in other ways as well if it was to compete in a rapidly changing world. He initiated the construction of Dubai's first airport, opened in 1960, establishing what would eventually become one of the world's busiest air travel hubs. He also invested in road infrastructure, connecting different parts of the growing settlement and laying the groundwork for the sprawling metropolis that Dubai would become. Electricity, generation, and distribution systems were established, bringing power to homes and businesses and enabling the use of technologies that would transform daily life. Water supply remained a challenge in the arid environment, but Sheikh Rashid addressed this through the construction of desalination plants, which converted seawater into fresh water through a process of reverse osmosis. This technology, energy-intensive but effective, would become increasingly important as Dubai's population grew and its water needs expanded. Education and healthcare systems were also established and expanded during this period, providing services that had previously been limited or non-existent. Schools were built, teachers were recruited, and a new generation of Dubai's citizens began to receive an education that would prepare them for roles in a modernizing economy. These developments were impressive, but they were just the beginning of Sheikh Rashid's vision for Dubai. The most significant transformation was yet to come, triggered by an event that would reshape the economy and society of the entire region: the discovery of oil. Oil had been discovered in neighboring Abu Dhabi in 1958, but it wasn't until 1966 that commercial quantities of oil were found in Dubai at the offshore Fateh field. The first shipment of oil was exported in 1969, marking the beginning of a new era in Dubai's history. The oil discoveries were modest by regional standards, nothing like the vast reserves found in Saudi Arabia or Kuwait. Dubai's oil production peaked at around 400,000 barrels per day and has been declining since the 1990s. Yet the impact of this limited resource on Dubai's development was profound. Oil revenues provided the capital needed to fund Sheikh Rashid's ambitious development plans. They allowed for investments in infrastructure, education, healthcare, and other areas that would have been impossible with Dubai's previous economic base. They created a financial foundation upon which the modern city could be built. But Sheikh Rashid, mindful of the finite nature of oil resources, and perhaps guided by his famous camel quote, understood that oil alone could not secure Dubai's long-term future. He saw the black gold not as an end in itself, but as a means to an end, a tool to be used to build a diversified economy that could thrive long after the oil wells ran dry. This foresight would prove crucial in shaping Dubai's development path. While other oil-rich states relied heavily on petroleum revenues and made limited investments in other sectors, Dubai used its oil wealth to create the conditions for economic diversification. The focus remained on trade, but new sectors began to emerge: construction, finance, and eventually tourism and real estate. The establishment of Port Rashid in 1972 was a significant step in this direction. Built to supplement the facilities along the creek, the new port was designed to handle container ships and other large vessels that couldn't navigate the narrower waterway. Its construction reflected Sheikh Rashid's understanding that global trade was evolving, with containerization becoming the dominant mode of shipping goods around the world. Port Rashid was followed by the even larger Jebel Ali port, construction of which began in the late 1970s. Located further down the coast, Jebel Ali was conceived as not just a port, but as the centerpiece of a massive industrial zone that would attract manufacturing and logistics companies from around the world. The Jebel Ali Free Zone, established in 1985, offered incentives that were revolutionary for the region: 100% foreign ownership, 0 corporate taxes for 50 years, no personal income taxes, no import or export duties, and a streamlined bureaucracy designed to facilitate business operations. These policies attracted companies from around the world, establishing Dubai as a business-friendly destination and a hub for regional and global trade. As these developments were unfolding, the political landscape of the region was also changing. In 1968, the British announced their intention to withdraw from the Gulf region by 1971. ending the protectorate relationship that had existed since the 19th century. This announcement prompted discussions among the Trucial states about their future political arrangements. After negotiations, 6 of the Trucial states, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Sharjah, Ajman, Al Quain, and Fujairah, agreed to form a federation, the United Arab Emirates. The federation was formally established on December 2, 1971, with Ras Al Khaimah joining as the 7th emirate in early 1972. The formation of the UAE created a new political framework within which Dubai would develop as one of the 2 most powerful emirates, along with Abu Dhabi. Dubai maintained significant autonomy in its internal affairs while benefiting from the security and international recognition that came with being part of a larger federation. Sheikh Rashid bin Zayed Al Maktoum served as the Vice President and Prime Minister of the UAE from its formation until his death in 1990, in addition to his role as the ruler of Dubai. This dual position allowed him to influence national policies while continuing to guide Dubai's development according to his vision. The 1970s and 1980s were a period of rapid growth and change for Dubai. The population increased dramatically, with migrants from across the region and beyond arriving to take advantage of the economic opportunities created by the development boom. The urban area expanded, with new neighborhoods and commercial districts springing up where there had previously been only desert. Modern buildings began to replace the traditional structures that had characterized Dubai for centuries. Air conditioning, that technology so essential for comfortable living in a desert climate, became increasingly common, allowing for architectural styles that would have been impractical in earlier times. The social fabric of Dubai also began to change during this period. The influx of expatriates from various countries brought new cultures, languages, and religions to what had previously been a relatively homogeneous society. Emiratis, the native citizens of Dubai, gradually became a minority in their own city, a demographic reality that continues to this day. This transformation brought both opportunities and challenges. On one hand, it created a cosmopolitan environment that would become one of Dubai's defining characteristics. On the other hand, it raised questions about cultural identity and the preservation of traditional values in the face of rapid modernization and globalization. Sheikh Rashid navigated these complexities with a combination of pragmatism and vision. He embraced the economic benefits of openness to the world while working to preserve aspects of Emirati culture and tradition. He built modern institutions while maintaining traditional forms of governance, including the Majlis, a regular gathering where citizens could bring their concerns directly to the ruler. The night has deepened as we've journeyed through this pivotal period in Dubai's history. The stars overhead have shifted in their courses, marking the passage of hours. The modern city sleeps, its towers silhouetted against the night sky, while the ghosts of the past pearl divers and traders, Sheikh Rashid and his contemporaries, move unseen through the streets, witnesses to a transformation that continues to unfold. The sound of the waves against the shore remains constant, a link between past and present, a reminder that despite all the changes wrought by human hands, the fundamental elements of this place, the sea, the sand, the relentless sun, remain unchanged, eternal witnesses to the unfolding story of Dubai. As our journey continues, we will explore how the foundations laid by Sheikh Rashid would support an even more dramatic transformation in the decades to come. Transformation that would take Dubai from a regional trading hub to a global city known for its architectural marvels, luxury lifestyle, and boundless ambition. But that is a story for the next phase of our exploration. As the night gives way to dawn and a new chapter in Dubai's extraordinary journey begins. The first light of dawn breaks over the horizon, casting long shadows across the desert landscape. The modern city begins to stir, its inhabitants awakening to another day in this improbable metropolis carved from the sand. Our journey through time now brings us to a crucial transition in Dubai's history. The passing of Sheikh Rashid bin Saeed Al Maktoum in 1990 and the succession of his son, Sheikh Maktoum bin Rashid Al Maktoum. Sheikh Maktoum continued his father's policies of economic diversification and infrastructure development. But his reign would be relatively short. In 2006, following Sheikh Maktoum's death, his brother, Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, became the ruler of Dubai. Sheikh Mohammed had already been deeply involved in Dubai's development as crown prince and was widely credited with many of the initiatives that had transformed the emirate in the preceding decades. Under Sheikh Mohammed's leadership, Dubai's transformation would accelerate at a pace that few could have imagined. The vision became more ambitious, the projects more grandiose, and the marketing of Dubai as a global destination more sophisticated and far-reaching. But before we explore these developments, let us pause to consider the Dubai that existed at the turn of the millennium, city already transformed from the modest trading post of earlier centuries, but not yet the global icon it would become. By the year 2000, Dubai had established itself as a significant regional hub for trade, finance, and increasingly, tourism. The population had grown to nearly 1 million people, a remarkable increase from the few thousand who had inhabited the settlement just decades earlier. The urban area had expanded dramatically, spreading along the coastline and pushing inland into the desert. The physical infrastructure of the city had been transformed. Modern highways replaced the narrow dirt roads of earlier times. The Dubai International Airport had grown from a small airstrip to a major international facility handling millions of passengers annually. Ports Rashid and Jebel Ali processed cargo from around the world, connecting Dubai to global trade networks. The skyline had begun to change as well, with high-rise buildings appearing along Sheikh Zayed Road, the main artery running parallel to the coastline. The Dubai World Trade Center, completed in 1979, had stood as the tallest building in the Middle East for many years, a symbol of the Emirates' ambitions. By the turn of the millennium, it had been joined by numerous other towers, creating a linear downtown that would continue to expand and evolve. The economy had diversified beyond oil, with trade, logistics, finance, and tourism emerging as key sectors. The Dubai Shopping Festival, launched in 1996, had established the emirate as a retail destination, attracting visitors from across the region and beyond. Hotels had sprung up along the coastline, offering luxury accommodations to an increasing number of tourists drawn by the sun, sea, and shopping opportunities. Free zones beyond Jebel Ali had been established, each targeting specific sectors. Dubai Internet City for technology companies, Dubai Media City for media and marketing firms, Dubai Healthcare City for medical services, and others. These zones, with their business-friendly regulations and tax advantages, attracted companies from around the world, further diversifying the economy and creating employment opportunities. The social fabric of Dubai had become increasingly complex and cosmopolitan. Expatriates from across the Middle East, South Asia, East Asia, Europe, and the Americas had made Dubai their home, creating a multicultural environment unique in the region. Emiratis, while a minority in their own city, remained at the center of political and economic power, with key positions in government and ownership stakes in major businesses. This was the Dubai that Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid, Al Maktoum would lead into the 21st century a city that had already achieved remarkable success, but one that he believed could reach even greater heights. His vision for Dubai was encapsulated in a series of strategic plans that set ambitious goals for growth and development across all sectors of the economy and society. One of the first and most visible manifestations of this vision was the Burj Al Arab Hotel, completed in 1999. Designed to resemble the sail of a dhow, the traditional sailing vessel of the Arabian Gulf, the Burj Al Arab rose from an artificial island just offshore. At 321 meters tall, it was one of the tallest hotels in the world. But its significance lay not in its height, but in its audacious design and unprecedented luxury. The Burj Al Arab declared itself a 7-star hotel, a designation that doesn't officially exist but that conveyed the level of opulence guests could expect. Suites spanned multiple floors, with private elevators and butlers available 24 hours a day. The interior featured lavish use of gold leaf, marble, and the finest materials from around the world. Arriving guests could choose to be brought to the entrance by helicopter or by a chauffeur-driven Rolls-Royce. The hotel was not merely a place to stay. It was a statement of intent, a physical manifestation of Dubai's ambition to be recognized as a destination for luxury and exclusivity. It became an icon, instantly recognizable around the world, a symbol of Dubai itself. The Burj Al Arab was just the beginning. Under Sheikh Mohammed's leadership, Dubai embarked on a series of projects that would reshape not just the city, but the very coastline of the emirate. The most ambitious of these was Palm Jumeirah, an artificial island in the shape of a palm tree, created by dredging sand from the seabed and depositing it in a carefully engineered pattern. The Palm Jumeirah, when viewed from above, reveals the perfect symmetry of its designer trunk extending into the sea, fronds spreading outward, and a crescent-shaped breakwater encircling the whole structure. The creation of this island was a feat of engineering that captured the world's imagination and established Dubai as a place where the impossible could be achieved. Construction of Palm Jumeirah began in 2001, and the first residents moved into their homes on the island in 2007. The project added 78 kilometers of new coastline to Dubai, providing space for luxury villas, apartment buildings, hotels, and retail developments. The Atlantis Hotel, positioned at the apex of the Palm, became another iconic structure, with its distinctive pink facade and underwater-themed attractions, including a massive aquarium and a water park. The success of Palm Jumeirah led to plans for even more ambitious artificial island projects. Palm Jebel, Ali, Palm Dera, and the world, a collection of islands arranged to resemble a map of the world. These projects faced challenges with the onset of the global financial crisis in 2008, and some were scaled back or put on hold. But they nonetheless demonstrated the boundless ambition that characterized Dubai's approach to development during this period. While these megaprojects captured headlines around the world, Dubai was simultaneously developing in other, less visible but equally significant ways. The financial sector expanded with the establishment of the Dubai International Financial Center (DIFC) in 2004. Designed as a financial-free zone with its own legal system based on English common law, the DIFC attracted international banks, insurance companies, and other financial institutions, establishing Dubai as a financial hub for the region. The tourism sector continued to grow, with an increasing number of hotels catering to a range of budgets and preferences. The Emirate invested in attractions such as the Wild Wadi Water Park, Ski Dubai, an indoor ski resort within the Mall of the Emirates, and various desert safari experiences. Annual events such as the Dubai Shopping Festival and the Dubai World Cup horse race attracted visitors from around the world. The real estate sector boomed, with developers both local and international launching projects throughout the city. Residential communities sprang up in areas that had been empty desert just years before. Marina developments offered waterfront living options, and master-planned communities promised lifestyle amenities that would appeal to expatriates and locals alike. Transportation infrastructure expanded to accommodate the growing city. The Dubai Metro, the first urban train network in the Gulf region, began operations in 2009, providing an alternative to road transport in a city that had become increasingly congested. New roads and bridges connected different parts of the expanding urban area, while the Dubai International Airport continued to grow, adding terminals and increasing capacity. Education and healthcare systems were enhanced, with international schools, universities, and medical facilities established to serve the needs of both the local population and the expatriate community. Cultural institutions such as the Dubai Opera opened in 2016, added new dimensions to the city's offerings. Throughout this period of rapid development, Dubai's marketing efforts became increasingly sophisticated. The Emirate positioned itself not just as a place to visit or do business, but as a lifestyle destination, a place where people could live in luxury, safety, and comfort, with access to the best of everything the world had to offer. This messaging was directed not only at tourists and businesses, but also at potential residents from around the world. The Dubai brand was carefully cultivated and promoted globally, with marketing campaigns appearing in major cities and on international media platforms. Celebrities were enlisted to endorse Dubai as a destination, and events featuring international stars were held to attract attention and visitors. The Emirates Airlines, particularly Emirates, expanded their reach, connecting Dubai to more and more destinations around the world and bringing an increasing number of travelers through the city. This marketing strategy, combined with the physical transformation of the city and the business-friendly policies that had been in place since Sheikh Rashid's time, proved remarkably successful. Dubai's population continued to grow, reaching nearly 3 million by 2020. The economy diversified further, with oil contributing less than 1% of GDP by that time. Yet this extraordinary growth and transformation did not come without challenges and controversies. The rapid pace of development put pressure on the environment, with concerns raised about air quality, energy consumption, water usage, and the impact of coastal engineering projects on marine ecosystems. The reliance on desalination for fresh water, while necessary in a desert environment, came with high energy costs and environmental impacts. The labor practices involved in the construction boom also came under scrutiny from international human rights organizations. The vast majority of construction workers were migrants from South Asia, working under the kafala sponsorship system that tied their legal status to their employers. Reports of low wages, poor living conditions, excessive working hours, and inadequate safety measures raised questions about the human cost of Dubai's physical transformation. The global financial crisis of 2008 presented another significant challenge. Dubai's economy, heavily dependent on real estate development and international investment, was hit hard. Property values plummeted, construction projects were halted, and some developers faced bankruptcy. Dubai World, a government-owned investment company responsible for many of the Emirates' most ambitious projects, requested a standstill on its debt repayments, sending shockwaves through global financial markets. This crisis moment revealed both vulnerabilities and strengths in Dubai's development model. The Emirate had perhaps expanded too rapidly, with too much leverage, in the years leading up to the crisis. Yet the fundamental strengths that had driven its growth, its strategic location, its infrastructure, its business-friendly policies, remained intact. Moreover, Dubai demonstrated resilience and adaptability in the face of adversity. With financial support from neighboring Abu Dhabi, the Emirate restructured its debts and adjusted its development plans. Some projects were scaled back or postponed, but others continued. The focus shifted somewhat from headline-grabbing mega-projects to more sustainable, market-driven development. By 2012, Dubai was showing signs of recovery. Property values began to rise again, tourists returned in increasing numbers, and business activity picked up. The Emirate had weathered a significant storm and emerged changed, but still committed to its vision of growth and development. As the sun rises higher in the sky, its rays illuminating the gleaming towers of the modern city, we arrive at what is perhaps the most iconic symbol of Dubai's ambition and achievement, the Burj Khalifa. Rising 828 meters into the sky, the Burj Khalifa is not merely the tallest building in Dubai or the Middle East, but the tallest human-made structure on Earth. Construction of this architectural marvel began in 2004 and was completed in 2010. The design, by the American architectural firm Skidmore, Owings and Merrill, was inspired by the geometric patterns of Islamic architecture and the form of the desert flower Hymenocallis. The structure tapers as it rises, with setbacks at various levels that reduce the impact of wind on the building, a crucial consideration for a structure of this height. The statistics associated with the Burj Khalifa are staggering. Over 330,000 cubic meters of concrete and 39,000 tons of steel reinforcement were used in its construction. At the peak of activity, more than 12,000 workers from over 100 countries were on site daily. The exterior is clad in 26,000 glass panels, individually cut to create the distinctive spiral pattern that characterizes the tower. But the Burj Khalifa is more than just an engineering achievement. It represents the culmination of Dubai's journey from a small desert settlement to a global city, standing at the center of downtown Dubai, a master-planned district that includes the Dubai Mall, one of the largest shopping centers in the world, luxury hotels, residential towers, and the Dubai Fountain, designed to be the world's largest choreographed fountain system. The Burj Khalifa is both the literal and figurative pinnacle of Dubai's development. From the observation decks on the 124th, 125th, and 148th floors, visitors can see not just the sprawling metropolis below, but, on a clear day, the vast desert that surrounds it, a visual reminder of the stark contrast between what Dubai was and what it has become. The view encompasses the original settlement along the creek, the linear development along Sheikh Zayed Road, the artificial islands extending into the Gulf, and the newer communities pushing ever further into the desert, a physical manifestation of Dubai's historical narrative. The completion of the Burj Khalifa coincided with a period of renewed growth and ambition for Dubai. Having weathered the global financial crisis, the Emirates set its sights on new goals. In 2013, it won the bid to host Expo 2020, later postponed to 2021 to 22 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. A global event that would showcase Dubai to the world and accelerate development in the south of the city. The Dubai Plan 2021, launched in 2014, outlined a comprehensive strategy for the Emirates' development, focusing on 6 themes: people, society, experience, place, economy, and government. The plan aimed to make Dubai a city of happy, creative, and empowered people, and the preferred place to live, work, and visit. In pursuit of these goals, Dubai continued to innovate and evolve. The Smart City Initiative, launched in 2014, aimed to transform Dubai into one of the world's most connected and sustainable urban environments. The Dubai Future Foundation, established in 2016, focused on innovation and future technologies, with projects including the Museum of the Future, designed as a showcase for technological advancements and their potential impact on society. Tourism remained a key focus, with new attractions added regularly to keep the city fresh and appealing to repeat visitors. Dubai Parks and Resorts, opened in 2016, combined several theme parks in one location. The Dubai Frame, completed in 2018, offered visitors a view of both old and new Dubai from its 150-meter-high observation deck. The Ain Dubai, the world's largest observation wheel, opened in 2021, providing yet another perspective on the city's remarkable skyline. The city's cultural offerings expanded as well, with the Etihad Museum, opened in 2016, documenting the history of the UAE's formation, and the Jameel Arts Centre, opened in 2018, showcasing contemporary art from the Middle East and beyond. These institutions added depth to Dubai's appeal, going beyond the shopping beaches and architectural spectacles that had initially put the city on the global tourism map. Throughout this period of continued development, Dubai maintained its focus on economic diversification. The Dubai Industrial Strategy 2030, launched in 2016, aimed to develop the manufacturing sector, while the Dubai Clean Energy Strategy 2050 set targets for increasing the share of clean energy in the Emirates' energy mix. The Dubai Blockchain Strategy positioned the city at the forefront of this emerging technology, with plans to conduct all applicable government transactions via blockchain by 2020. The COVID-19 pandemic, which began in early 2020, presented yet another challenge to Dubai's development model. With global travel severely restricted, the tourism sector was hit hard. The postponement of Expo 2020 represented a significant setback to the Emirates' plans. Yet once again, Dubai demonstrated resilience and adaptability. The Emirate implemented strict health protocols and an aggressive vaccination campaign, allowing it to reopen to tourists earlier than many other destinations. The rescheduled Expo 2020, held from October 2021 to March 2022, provided an opportunity to showcase Dubai's recovery and renewed ambition to the world. As we stand in the present day, looking at the Dubai that has emerged from decades of visionary leadership, ambitious planning, and relentless development, it is difficult not to be impressed by the transformation that has taken place. A settlement that once relied on pearl diving and modest trade has become a global city known for its architectural marvels, luxury lifestyle, and boundless ambition. The creek that once served as a natural harbor for wooden dhows now features luxury yachts and water taxis, carrying tourists between the historic districts of Dera and Bur Dubai. The simple coral stone structures and Barasti huts have given way to skyscrapers of glass and steel that push the boundaries of architectural possibility. The harsh desert environment has been tamed by air conditioning, desalination plants, and extensive landscaping, creating an urban oasis that offers comfort and luxury in one of the world's most challenging climates. Yet as we marvel at these achievements, we must also consider the questions and challenges that lie ahead for Dubai. The Emirate has built its success on a model of continual growth and development. But how sustainable is this model in the long term? What are the environmental implications of maintaining a city of this size and luxury in a desert environment? How will Dubai adapt to a post-oil world, even as it has already significantly diversified its economy away from petroleum? The afternoon sun is now high in the sky, its heat intense even in the shade. The modern city pulses with activity. Cars flow along multi-lane highways. Pedestrians seek refuge in air-conditioned malls and office buildings. Construction continues on the ever-expanding urban periphery. The contrast with the quiet, simple life of early Dubai could not be more stark. Yet beneath the surface of this ultra-modern metropolis, connections to the past remain. The creek still flows through the heart of the city, a reminder of the natural feature that first attracted settlement to this spot on the Arabian coast. The souk, though now catering largely to tourists, maintain echoes of the traditional markets where goods were exchanged for centuries. The Islamic call to prayer still sounds 5 times a day, marking the rhythm of life as it has for generations. In the quiet of the desert that surrounds the city, far from the gleaming towers and busy streets, one can still experience something of the environment that shaped Dubai's early inhabitants. The sand stretches to the horizon, shifting with the wind, forming dunes that appear permanent but are in constant, subtle motion. The sun bears down with an intensity that makes all life seek shelter during the hottest hours of the day. At night, the stars shine with a clarity and brilliance rarely seen in more temperate climates. A celestial display that has guided travelers through this harsh landscape for millennia. This desert, seemingly hostile to human habitation, is a reminder of the audacity of Dubai's achievement. In a place where survival itself was once a daily challenge, a global city has been created, a city that attracts millions of visitors, provides homes and livelihoods for millions of residents, and stands as a testament to human ingenuity and ambition. Yet the desert is also a reminder of the fragility of human achievements. Throughout history, cities have risen and fallen, civilizations have flourished and disappeared, leaving only ruins as testament to their former glory. The sands have reclaimed many structures built by human hands, covering them completely until they are rediscovered centuries later by archaeologists and historians. This sobering reality brings us to a crucial question about Dubai's future. How long can this miracle in the desert endure? What is the expiration date, if any, on this ambitious experiment in urban development in one of the world's most challenging environments? As the day begins to wane and the harsh sunlight softens into the golden hues of late afternoon, we turn our attention to the challenges and questions that will shape Dubai's future. The city has achieved remarkable success in a relatively short period, but sustaining that success in the face of environmental, economic, and social challenges will require the same vision, innovation, and adaptability that have characterized its development thus far. The environmental challenges facing Dubai are perhaps the most immediate and visible. The Emirates' location in one of the hottest and driest regions on Earth poses fundamental questions about the sustainability of maintaining a large modern city in such an environment. Water is the most critical resource, and Dubai's approach to securing it has been through desalination, the energy-intensive process of removing salt from seawater to make it suitable for human consumption and use. The Emirate has some of the largest desalination plants in the world, producing hundreds of millions of gallons of fresh water daily. This approach has been effective in providing the water needed for a growing population and the landscaping that softens the harsh urban environment. The palm trees that line Dubai's boulevards, the grass in its parks and golf courses, the flowers that bring color to its roundabouts and public spaces all are sustained by desalinated water. But this solution comes with significant costs, both financial and environmental. Desalination requires enormous amounts of energy, contributing to Dubai's high per capita carbon footprint. The process also produces briner, highly concentrated salt solution that is typically discharged back into the sea, potentially harming marine ecosystems if not properly managed. Moreover, desalination is vulnerable to disruption from events such as oil spills, harmful algal blooms, red tides, and other forms of marine pollution. As climate change leads to warmer sea temperatures, harmful algal blooms are becoming more frequent in the Gulf, posing an increasing threat to the reliability of Dubai's water supply. Energy consumption is another environmental challenge. Dubai's climate necessitates extensive use of air conditioning for much of the year, contributing to the Emirates' high energy demand. The glass-clad skyscrapers that define the city's skyline, while visually impressive, are not inherently energy efficient in a desert environment, requiring constant cooling to maintain comfortable indoor temperatures. Historically, this energy has been primarily provided by fossil fuels, contributing to air pollution and greenhouse gas emissions. Dubai has recognized this challenge and has begun to invest in renewable energy, particularly solar power, a resource abundant in a region that receives intense sunlight throughout the year. The Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum Solar Park, when completed, is planned to be one of the largest single-site solar parks in the world, with a projected capacity of 5,000 megawatts by 2030. This shift toward renewable energy is part of the Dubai Clean Energy Strategy 2050, which aims to provide 75% of the Emirates' energy needs from clean sources by 2050. Achieving this goal would significantly reduce Dubai's carbon footprint and increase the sustainability of its development model. Waste management presents another environmental challenge. The consumption-oriented lifestyle that characterizes modern Dubai generates significant amounts of waste, which must be collected, processed, and either recycled or disposed of. The Emirate has invested in waste management infrastructure and has set targets for increasing recycling rates. But achieving a truly circular economy where waste is minimized and materials are reused or recycled remains a work in progress. Transportation is yet another area with significant environmental implications. Dubai's development pattern, characterized by sprawl and distinct districts spread over a large area, has made private car ownership almost a necessity for many residents. The resulting traffic congestion and vehicle emissions contribute to air pollution and carbon emissions. The Dubai Metro, opened in 2009 and since expanded, has provided an alternative to road transport for some journeys, and there are plans for further extensions to the rail network. However, achieving a significant shift from private cars to public transport in a city designed around road travel remains a substantial challenge. Beyond these specific environmental challenges, Dubai faces the broader threat of climate change. As a coastal city with significant development along the shoreline, the Emirate is vulnerable to sea level rise. The artificial islands that have become emblems of Dubai's ambition palm, Jumeirah, the world, and others could be particularly at risk from rising seas and increasingly severe storm events. Moreover, climate models predict that the already extreme temperatures in the Gulf region will become even more severe in the coming decades. A 2015 study published in the journal Nature Climate Change suggested that by the end of the century, if global greenhouse gas emissions continue on their current trajectory, the combination of heat and humidity in the Gulf could occasionally reach levels that exceed the limits of human adaptability, making it physiologically impossible for even healthy individuals to remain outdoors for extended periods without risking heat-related illness or death. Such extreme conditions would not only pose health risks, but could also fundamentally challenge Dubai's appeal as a place to live, work, and visit. The Emirates' outdoor attractions, beaches, desert experiences, outdoor dining, and shopping areas would become less viable during an increasingly large portion of the year. These environmental challenges are substantial, but they are not insurmountable with the right combination of technological innovation, policy changes, and behavioral adaptations. Dubai has already demonstrated its ability to thrive in a harsh environment through human ingenuity and determination. The question is whether the same approach can be applied to creating a truly sustainable city in the desert, one that meets the needs of its current residents without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. The economic challenges facing Dubai are equally significant. The Emirate has built its prosperity on a model of continuous growth and development, attracting investment, businesses, workers, and tourists from around the world. This model has been remarkably successful, transforming Dubai from a modest regional trading hub to a global city in just a few decades. But sustaining this growth in the long term presents challenges. Dubai's economy, while significantly diversified from its early dependence on oil, still relies heavily on sectors that are vulnerable to global economic fluctuations: real estate, tourism, retail, and finance. The global financial crisis of 2008 and the COVID-19 pandemic both demonstrated how external shocks can impact these sectors, with ripple effects throughout the economy. The real estate sector, in particular, has been characterized by boom and bust cycles, periods of rapid development and rising property values have been followed by corrections that have left some investors and developers facing significant losses. Managing these cycles to avoid the extremes of speculative bubbles and market crashes remains a challenge for Dubai's economic planners. Tourism, another pillar of Dubai's economy, is also vulnerable to external factors beyond the Emirate's control, from global economic downturns to health crises like the COVID-19 pandemic, from regional political tensions to changing travel preferences and increasing concerns about the environmental impact of long-haul flights. Dubai has continually refreshed and expanded its tourism offerings to maintain its appeal. But the question remains: how long can it continue to attract visitors in ever-increasing numbers? The retail sector, closely linked to both tourism and real estate, faces its own challenges. Dubai has positioned itself as a shopping destination, with some of the largest and most elaborate malls in the world. But the global trend toward online shopping, accelerated by the COVID-19 pandemic, raises questions about the long-term viability of a retail model based on physical stores in massive shopping centers. The Emirate has begun to adapt to this shift, with initiatives to promote e-commerce and digital retail, but the transition presents both opportunities and challenges. Finance, another key sector of Dubai's economy, operates in an increasingly competitive global environment. The Dubai International Financial Center, DIFC, has established itself as a significant financial hub for the Middle East, Africa, and South Asia, but it faces competition from other centers, both within the region: Abu Dhabi, Riyadh, Doha, and beyond: Singapore, Hong Kong, London, New York. Maintaining Dubai's attractiveness to financial institutions and professionals requires ongoing investment in infrastructure, regulatory frameworks, and quality of life. The broader challenge underlying these sector-specific issues is the need for continued innovation and economic diversification. Dubai has already transformed its economy once, from its early dependence on pearl diving and modest trade to a diversified model based on multiple sectors. Now it faces the need for further transformation to remain competitive in a rapidly changing global economy. This transformation is already underway, with initiatives focused on technology, innovation, and the knowledge economy. Dubai Internet City and Dubai Media City have established the Emirate as a regional hub for technology and media companies. The Dubai Future Foundation is working to position the city at the forefront of emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, blockchain, and autonomous vehicles. The Dubai Industrial Strategy aims to develop advanced manufacturing capabilities. These initiatives reflect an understanding that Dubai's future prosperity depends on moving up the value chain from being primarily a consumer of technology and knowledge to becoming a producer of innovation and intellectual property. This transition is challenging for any economy, but particularly so for one that has developed as rapidly as Dubai's. Without the decades or centuries of gradual institutional and educational development that characterize the rise of today's advanced economies, the social challenges facing Dubai are perhaps less immediately visible than the environmental and economic ones, but they are no less significant for the Emirate's long-term sustainability. Dubai's population is overwhelmingly composed of expatriates. Approximately 90% of residents are not UAE nationals, but rather individuals from across the Middle East, South Asia, East Asia, Europe, Africa, and the Americas, who have come to work and live in the Emirate. This demographic reality creates a complex social fabric with diverse cultures, languages, religions, and traditions coexisting within the same urban space. The management of this diversity, ensuring social cohesion while respecting cultural differences, is a ongoing challenge. Moreover, the expatriate population is inherently transient, with residency tied to employment and limited pathways to permanent settlement or citizenship. This transience can make it difficult to build a sense of community and shared identity, with many expatriates viewing their time in Dubai as temporary, a few years to earn and save before returning to their home countries. For Emmerick, the indigenous population of Dubai, the rapid transformation of their society and the demographic imbalance created by the influx of expatriates raise questions about cultural identity and preservation. How can traditional Emirati culture, values, and way of life be maintained in a city where Emiratis are a small minority? How can the benefits of development and globalization be balanced with the preservation of cultural heritage? These social dynamics create a unique urban environment, cosmopolitan and diverse, yet also compartmentalized, with different communities often living parallel lives rather than fully integrating. The challenge for Dubai is to foster a sense of shared belonging and investment in the city's future among all residents. Whether they are Emiratis who have witnessed the transformation of their homeland or expatriates who have come from afar to be part of this ambitious experiment in urban development. The afternoon is giving way to evening, the harsh desert sun softening as it descends toward the horizon. The city's silhouette changes as the light shifts, the glass-clad skyscrapers reflecting the golden hues of sunset. Soon, the lights of the city will come on, creating a different kind of spectacle, a constellation of human-made stars that declares Dubai's presence in the desert night. As we approach the end of our journey through Dubai's past, present, and potential future, we return to the question implicit in our title: does Dubai, this miracle in the desert, have an expiration date? Will the challenges we have explored, environmental, economic, socially, eventually overwhelm the ambition and ingenuity that has driven the city's extraordinary development? There are no simple answers to these questions. The future of Dubai, like the future of any city, will be shaped by a complex interplay of factors, some within the control of its leaders and residents, others determined by regional and global forces beyond their influence. What is clear is that sustaining Dubai's success will require the same qualities that have characterized its development thus far: vision, adaptability, innovation, and determination. It will require acknowledging and addressing the challenges rather than ignoring them. It will require balancing the ambition for continued growth with the realities of environmental limits and the needs of all residents. The environmental challenges are perhaps the most fundamental, particularly in a region where climate change is expected to make an already harsh environment even more extreme. Ensuring a reliable supply of water and energy while reducing carbon emissions and environmental impacts will be essential for Dubai's long-term viability. The economic challenges require continued diversification and innovation, moving beyond the current model to develop new sectors and capabilities that can provide sustainable prosperity in a changing global economy. This transition will require investments in education, research, and technology, as well as policies that foster entrepreneurship and creativity. The social challenges demand attention to the human dimension of urban development, creating not just impressive buildings and infrastructure, but a genuine community where diverse populations can find common ground and shared purpose. This requires both official policies and organic, grassroots initiatives that bring people together across cultural and socio-economic divides. These challenges are substantial, but they are not unique to Dubai. Cities around the world are grappling with similar issues, though perhaps not with the same intensity or urgency that comes from building a global metropolis in one of the world's most challenging environments. What is unique about Dubai is the speed of its transformation and the audacity of its ambition qualities that have enabled its remarkable achievements thus far, and that may well see it overcome the challenges that lie ahead. As night falls over the desert and the stars begin to appear in the clear, dark sky, we conclude our journey through Dubai's extraordinary story. The city sleeps, its inhabitants resting before another day in this improbable metropolis carved from the sand. The question of Dubai's expiration date remains open, a challenge to be addressed by current and future generations of leaders and residents. What is certain is that the story of Dubai is far from over. The city that has transformed itself from a humble fishing village to a global metropolis in less than a century has demonstrated a capacity for reinvention that few would have predicted. Whether it can reinvent itself once more, this time as a sustainable desert city capable of thriving in an era of climate change and global economic transformation, remains to be seen. As we leave Dubai to its dreams beneath the desert stars, we carry with us the lessons of its journey, testament to human ambition, ingenuity, and the relentless pursuit of a vision against seemingly insurmountable odds. Whatever the future holds for this miracle in the desert, its story reminds us of what is possible when imagination and determination are brought to bear on the challenges of creating a human habitat in even the most challenging of environments. The night deepens, and the desert wind carries the scent of salt and sand, a sensory reminder of the elements that have shaped this land and its people for generations. Dubai sleeps, cradled between the endless sands and the eternal sea, dreaming of what it has been, what it is, and what it might yet become. As dawn breaks over the horizon, painting the sky in hues of pink and gold, the first rays of sunlight catch the glass and steel of Dubai's skyline, creating a dazzling display of light and color. Another day begins in this city of contrasts, a day that will bring both opportunities and challenges, a day that will add another small chapter to the continuing story of Dubai's extraordinary journey from desert outpost to global metropolis. The early morning light reveals the Dubai Creek, the natural inlet that provided the original impetus for settlement in this harsh environment. The water reflects the growing brightness of the sky, a ribbon of liquid silver winding through the urban landscape. Along its banks, the historic districts of Dera and Bur Dubai are beginning to stir, the oldest parts of the city awakening to another day. Here, in these historic neighborhoods, one can still glimpse echoes of old Dubanero alleyways, traditional wind towers, and restored heritage buildings that stand as reminders of the city's humble origins. The souk that line the creekside still operates, selling gold, spices, textiles, and perfumes, though now they cater as much to tourists seeking authentic experiences as to residents making practical purchases. Wooden abras, traditional water taxis, ply the creek as they have for generations, carrying passengers between the banks for a nominal fee. These small vessels, with their distinctive design and puttering engines, represent one of the few constants in a city that is otherwise transformed beyond recognition. The Abra drivers, many of them older men who have witnessed Dubai's extraordinary metamorphosis firsthand, navigate their craft with the ease that comes from decades of experience, their weathered faces bearing silent testimony to the changes they have seen. As the sun climbs higher in the sky, its light now reaching the modern heart of the city, the skyscrapers along Sheikh Zayed Road, the artificial islands extending into the Gulf, the massive shopping malls and entertainment complexes that have become Dubai's signature attractions, the air conditioning systems that make life possible in this desert environment hum into higher gear, preparing for another day of holding the natural heat at bay. The city comes fully alive, cars flow along the multi-lane highways, pedestrians move between air-conditioned buildings via covered walkways or underground passages. Construction workers arrive at sites where the next generation of Dubai's architectural marvels is taking shape. The population of this global city Emiratis and expatriates from across the world begins another day of work, study, leisure, and commerce. From our vantage point above the city, we can observe the daily rhythm of urban life unfolding beneath us. But we can also look beyond the present moment, beyond the immediate concerns of daily existence, to consider the deeper currents that will shape Dubai's future in the coming decades. We have explored the environmental, economic, and social challenges that Dubai faces, challenges that raise questions about the long-term sustainability of a global metropolis in one of the world's harshest environments. But to fully understand Dubai's prospects, we must also consider the sources of resilience and adaptability that might enable the city to overcome these challenges. One such source is the very quality that has driven Dubai's development thus far: visionary leadership. The Al Maktoum family, from Sheikh Rashid bin Saeed through to the current ruler, Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid, has demonstrated an ability to anticipate challenges, set ambitious goals, and mobilize resources to achieve them. This tradition of forward-thinking governance has enabled Dubai to reinvent itself multiple times, from a pearl diving settlement to a regional trading hub to a global city. Sheikh Mohammed's Dubai Plan 2021 and the subsequent Dubai 2040 Urban Master Plan reflect this tradition, outlining comprehensive strategies for the Emirates' development with an emphasis on sustainability, quality of life, and economic diversification. These plans acknowledge many of the challenges we have discussed and propose specific measures to address them. The Dubai 2040 Urban Master Plan, for instance, aims to enhance environmental sustainability by increasing green and recreational spaces, developing a comprehensive network of pedestrian and cycling paths, and implementing sustainable mobility solutions. It seeks to preserve the Emirates' cultural and historic districts while accommodating population growth through thoughtful urban planning. It envisions integrated service centers that would reduce the need for long commutes and establish a 20-minute city, where residents can access essential services within a short journey. Similarly, the Dubai Clean Energy Strategy 2050 represents a recognition of the environmental challenges posed by the Emirates' current energy consumption patterns and a commitment to transitioning toward more sustainable alternatives. The target of providing 75% of Dubai's energy needs from clean sources by 2050 is ambitious but aligned with global efforts to reduce carbon emissions and mitigate climate change. These strategic plans demonstrate an awareness of the challenges and a willingness to address them through policy initiatives, infrastructure investments, and behavioral changes. Whether they will be sufficient to ensure Dubai's long-term sustainability remains to be seen. But they represent a necessary first step, acknowledging the issues and developing coherent approaches to tackling them. Another source of resilience is Dubai's demonstrated ability to attract and retain human capital, the skills, knowledge, creativity, and labor of people from around the world. The Emirate has succeeded in positioning itself as a place where talented individuals can pursue opportunities, enjoy a high quality of life, and achieve their personal and professional goals. This ability to draw on a global pool of human capital has been a key factor in Dubai's rapid development and will be equally important in addressing the challenges of the future. The COVID-19 pandemic, while disrupting many aspects of Dubai's economy and society, also demonstrated the Emirate's adaptability and appeal. When many cities around the world remained under strict lockdowns, Dubai reopened to tourists and business travelers relatively quickly, implementing health protocols that balanced safety concerns with the need to resume economic activity. This approach, combined with a successful vaccination campaign, allowed Dubai to position itself as a haven for remote workers, entrepreneurs, and visitors seeking an escape from restrictions elsewhere. This response to the pandemic crisis demonstrated another source of Dubai's resilience, its ability to identify and capitalize on emerging opportunities, even in challenging circumstances. The Emirate has repeatedly shown this quality throughout its development. From Sheikh Rashid's decision to dredge the creek to the establishment of Emirates Airline, from the creation of free zones to attract international businesses to the development of tourism as a key economic sector. The pandemic also accelerated certain trends that may work in Dubai's favor in the long term. The shift toward remote work and digital nomadism, for instance, aligns well with Dubai's existing strengths as a cosmopolitan city with excellent digital infrastructure, international connectivity, and a high quality of life. The Emirate has moved quickly to capitalize on this trend, introducing visa programs specifically designed for remote workers and digital entrepreneurs. Similarly, the increasing focus on health and well-being, heightened by the pandemic experience, presents opportunities for Dubai to develop its medical tourism sector further and to enhance its appeal as a destination for wellness-oriented visitors and residents. The Emirate has already made investments in healthcare, infrastructure, and services, positioning itself as a regional hub for medical care. The growing global emphasis on sustainability and environmental responsibility, while presenting challenges for a city with Dubai's resource consumption patterns, also creates opportunities for innovation and leadership in areas such as clean energy, water conservation, and sustainable building technologies. Dubai's harsh environment and limited natural resources make it an ideal testing ground for solutions that could be applied in other water-scarce and hot regions around the world. These potential sources of resilience and adaptability suggest that Dubai may indeed have the capacity to address the challenges it faces and to continue its remarkable journey of development and transformation. But success is not guaranteed. It will require sustained commitment, innovative thinking, and a willingness to make difficult choices and trade-offs. The environmental challenges, in particular, demand urgent attention. The combination of extreme heat, water scarcity, and energy demands creates a fundamental tension in Dubai's development model. Resolving this tension will require not just technological solutions, though these will certainly be part of the answer, but also changes in urban planning, building design, lifestyle expectations, and consumption patterns. The economic challenges require a delicate balance between maintaining the sectors that have driven Dubai's growth, thus far tourism, real estate, retail, finance, while developing new areas of comparative advantage for the future. The emphasis on innovation, technology, and the knowledge economy in recent strategic plans reflects an understanding of this need. But translating these aspirations into concrete economic diversification remains a complex task. The social challenges involve questions of identity, belonging, and community in a city where the vast majority of residents are expatriates with varying levels of long-term commitment to the place, creating a sense of shared ownership and investment in Dubai's future among this diverse and often transient population, while also preserving Emirati culture and identity, requires thoughtful policies and organic grassroots initiatives. As the day advances and the heat of the desert sun intensifies, we can observe the rhythm of life in Dubai adjusting to the harsh realities of the environment. Outdoor activities diminish during the hottest hours. People move between air-conditioned spaces, minimizing their exposure to the elements. This daily adaptation to environmental constraints is a microcosm of the larger adaptation that Dubai must undertake to ensure its long-term sustainability. The sun is now high in the sky, its light so bright that it seems to bleach the color from the landscape. The modern city shimmers in the heat, its glass and steel surfaces reflecting the intense sunlight. From above, we can see the stark contrast between the developed urban areas and the surrounding desert, a visual reminder of the fundamental challenge of maintaining a global metropolis in this harsh environment. Yet we can also see signs of adaptation and innovation. Solar panels on rooftops and in dedicated parks, converting the abundant sunlight into energy, greenery sustained by treated wastewater, buildings designed with traditional and modern techniques to minimize heat gain, public transport networks reducing the need for individual vehicles, desalination plants providing the fresh water essential for life in the desert. These adaptations, and many more like them, will need to be scaled up and complemented by new approaches if Dubai is to successfully navigate the challenges of the coming decades. The expiration date on the Desert Miracle is not fixed or predetermined. It will be influenced by the choices made by Dubai's leaders and residents, by regional and global developments beyond their control, and by the complex interplay between human ingenuity and environmental realities. As the afternoon wears on, and the sun begins its descent toward the western horizon, the quality of light changes, softening from the harsh brightness of midday to the golden hues of late afternoon. The city's appearance transforms with the changing light, its architectural features casting longer shadows, its colors warming as the day begins to wane. We have journeyed through Dubai's past, exploring its transformation from a humble pearl diving settlement to a global metropolis. We have examined its present, with all its impressive achievements and underlying challenges. We have contemplated its future, considering both the threats to its sustainability and the sources of resilience that might enable it to overcome those threats. The story of Dubai is far from complete. The city that has reinvented itself multiple times throughout its history may well do so again, finding new ways to thrive in changing circumstances. The Desert Miracle may continue to defy expectations, just as it has done throughout its extraordinary development. What is certain is that Dubai's journey will continue to offer lessons about human ambition and ingenuity, about the possibilities and limitations of transforming hostile environments into habitable spaces, about the complex interplay between natural resources, economic forces, and human aspirations, whether Dubai ultimately proves to be a sustainable model of urban development in an extreme environment, or a cautionary tale about the limits of human ambition in the face of environmental realities. Its story will remain a fascinating chapter in the ongoing narrative of our species' relationship with the planet we inhabit. As the sun sets over the Persian Gulf, casting long shadows across the city and painting the sky in dramatic hues of orange and purple, we pause to appreciate the sheer audacity of what has been achieved here. In little more than half a century, a modest trading post has been transformed into a global metropolis that attracts millions of visitors, hosts thousands of international businesses, and provides homes for people from across the world. The silhouette of the city against the sunset sky is a testament to human vision and determination, the Burj Khalifa reaching toward the heavens, the distinctive sail shape of the Burj Al Arab, the artificial islands extending into the Gulf, the forests of high-rise buildings that have replaced the empty desert. Each element of this skyline represents thousands of individual stories of architects who designed, laborers who built, businesses that occupied, and people who lived in these structures. As darkness falls, the city's lights come on, creating a different kind of spectacle. From above, Dubai at night appears as a constellation of human-made stars, a declaration of presence against the darkness of the desert. The major arteries of the city are defined by the headlights of vehicles moving along them, while the skyscrapers of Sheikh Zayed Road and Dubai Marina form vertical rivers of light against the night sky. This illuminated city, powered by electricity generated from fossil fuels and, increasingly, renewable sources, represents both the achievement and the challenge of Dubai. The lights are a symbol of human ingenuity, of our ability to create habitable spaces in even the most hostile environments. But they also represent the resource consumption that raises questions about the long-term sustainability of this urban experiment. As we conclude our journey through Dubai's past, present, and potential future, we return to the question that has guided our exploration. Does this desert miracle have an expiration date? The answer remains elusive, dependent on countless variables and decisions yet to be made. But perhaps the more important question is not whether Dubai will last forever. No city does, but what legacy it will leave, and what lessons it will teach us about the possibilities and limitations of urban development in challenging environments. The night deepens, and the desert beyond the city limits returns to the darkness that has characterized it for millennia, broken only by the light of the stars and the moon. In this ancient landscape, Dubai appears as a brief moment of brilliance, flash of human ambition and achievement against the backdrop of geological time. Yet for those who call this place home, whether Emiratis, whose ancestors have lived here for generations, or expatriates who have come from across the world seeking opportunity, Dubai is not just a fascinating urban experiment or a monument to human ingenuity. It is the setting for their daily lives, the place where they work, learn, love, and dream. For these residents, the question of Dubai's expiration date is not an abstract consideration, but a matter of immediate concern. Their investments, financial, professional, emotionally in this place, give them a stake in its future sustainability. Their diverse backgrounds, skills, and perspectives provide a rich resource for innovation and adaptation as the city faces the challenges ahead. The cool night air settles over the desert, bringing relief from the day's heat. In the quieter hours before dawn, when the city's pace slows, there is time for reflection on what has been achieved and what remains to be done. The extraordinary transformation of Dubai from desert outpost to global metropolis represents just one chapter in an ongoing story that will continue to unfold in ways that we can imagine but cannot predict with certainty. What is clear is that maintaining Dubai's success in the coming decades will require the same qualities that have characterized its development thus far: vision, adaptability, innovation, and determination applied to a new set of challenges. It will require balancing the ambition for continued growth with the realities of environmental limits and the needs of all residents. It will require technological solutions, policy changes, and shifts in individual and collective behavior as we depart from our journey through Dubai's extraordinary story. We carry with us a deeper understanding of what human ingenuity and ambition can achieve when directed toward a shared vision. We also carry an appreciation of the challenges that arise when that vision must confront the realities of environmental limits and social complexity. Dubai stands as both inspiration and questioner, demonstration of what is possible, and a test case for the sustainability of urban development in one of Earth's most challenging environments. Its future remains unwritten, a story still in the making, a continuation of the remarkable journey from pearl diving settlement to global city that we have explored together. The first light of a new day begins to appear on the eastern horizon, promising another cycle of heat, light, and human activity in this improbable metropolis carved from the desert sand. Dubai awakens to face both the opportunities and challenges of its continued existence. A city that has defied expectations throughout its history and that may yet find ways to extend its desert miracle far into the future. As we take our leave, the rising sun catches once more on the glass and steel of the city's skyline, creating a dazzling display of light and color. Another day begins in Dubai, another small chapter added to its extraordinary story that reminds us of the power of human vision to transform reality, and of the enduring question of how to balance that transformative power with the natural systems that ultimately sustain all life on our planet. In the cool moments before the heat of the day takes hold, there is a brief period of perfect balance, when the harshness of the desert environment is temporarily softened, when outdoor existence is comfortable without technological intervention, when the natural and the human-made seem to exist in harmony. This fleeting equilibrium serves as both metaphor and aspiration for Dubai's future sustainable balance between human ambition and environmental reality that might extend the desert miracle beyond any expiration date we can currently imagine. The sun rises fully above the horizon, illuminating the city and the surrounding desert in the clear light of a new day. Our journey through Dubai's extraordinary story comes to an end, but the city's journey continues, an ongoing experiment in urban development in one of Earth's most challenging environments, a testament to human ingenuity and ambition, and a question posed to the future about the sustainability of our relationship with the planet we call home. In the silence of the desert that surrounds the city, where the sands shift with the wind and the harsh sun beats down upon an ancient landscape, Dubai stands as both exclamation point and question mark, a declaration of what human will and vision can achieve, and an inquiry into how long such achievements can endure in the face of environmental realities that have shaped this region for millennia. The answer to that inquiry lies not in the past we have explored, but in the future that is yet to unfold, the future that will be determined by choices made today and tomorrow, by innovations yet to be developed, by adaptations yet to be implemented. It is a future in which the expiration date of Dubai's desert miracle remains unwritten, a blank page awaiting the next chapter in one of the most remarkable urban transformations in human history. The day has now fully begun, and with it, the cycle of life in Dubai continues, a cycle of ambition and achievement, of challenge and response, of human ingenuity applied to the task of creating and sustaining a global city in the harsh embrace of the Arabian desert. Whether this cycle can continue indefinitely, or whether it will eventually reach its natural conclusion, remains one of the most fascinating questions in contemporary urban development, a question that only time and the accumulated effects of countless human decisions can ultimately answer. As we take our final leave of this extraordinary place, we carry with us not just the knowledge of what has been achieved here, but also a deeper appreciation of the delicate balance between human ambition and natural constraints that will shape the future of cities around the world. Dubai's story, still unfolding, reminds us of both the remarkable capabilities of our species and the enduring realities of the planet we inhabit, a complex interplay that will continue to define our relationship with Earth long after the current chapter of Dubai's development has given way to whatever comes next in its ongoing evolution. The heat of the day intensifies, the air shimmers above the sand, and the modern city continues its ceaseless activity, a miracle in the desert, with an expiration date that remains, for now, an open question written in the shifting sands of time.